CDKx, the CDK experience, and today I have the most special guest in the whole wide world, and I don't just say that for everybody. This is Valerie Mekki, opportunity creation blogger and extraordinaire of all things career pivot. So if the pandemic knocked you on your butt, like the majority of the people in the world, this is the person to talk to. Valerie, would you like to introduce yourself, Val?
Thank you. Thank you, Carina, for having me on your show. Hi, everyone. My name is Valerie Mekki. I'm an SEO writer and a blogger. The name of my blog is Oh Hello Work Life, because work life can be surprising, right? And so, like Carina was sharing, yes, I am surviving and thriving on my third career pivot.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So do you want to give a little, I know we're here to sort of technically interview me for your blog, and I'd want to make sure we do all that, but for the sake of the live stream, would you want to give a little bit of insight on like what your career pivots looked like? And you know, just something that helps. I've heard your story once or twice, but it would be really cool to hear it like streamlined. And also I want to make sure everyone watching or watching the playback gets to know a little bit more about you.
Yes, thank you for letting me share my story. I've been in the fashion industry for over 18 years. And last year, at the beginning of the pandemic in April 2020, that was my second layoff from the industry. And I was completely blindsided. I did not have a plan B. I thought the job that I was in was pretty secure. I thought I was an essential part of the team. And so when I was laid off, and the industry was like collapsing at the time. No one was hiring in the fashion industry. And so I started to think, how do I show my future employer that I can still learn while I'm job searching? I didn't have any e-commerce experience. Everything was store related experience. So that also was out of date too. Mm-hmm. So I know that I couldn't control whatever was on my resume, but I could control my next steps, which was, okay, well, why don't I launch a blog that can show my future employer that I can stay digitally relevant? And that's when Oh Hello Work Life was born. And the reason why I chose, originally was going to be project management. Then I was like, no one's going to read that blog. So boring. So I then decided to do Oh Hello Work Life because at the time, there was over 3 million women were out of jobs.
It was really that many? Wait, in the US or
in the US? In the US,
3 million?
At the beginning of the pandemic, almost close to 3 million women, 2.9, was either laid off, furloughed, or they had to stay at home to take care of family obligations. And they call it a she session because a lot of the service-based industries, they were on pause, they were on close, and then 78% of the women, 78% of women hold those jobs in the service-based industries. So it really did make a negative impact for women during that time, especially women of color. So the reason why I launched the blog was my little way of saying, hey, why don't I write something about side hustles or online business or anything that can help in any way. My little blog could help create some sort of opportunity for women. And, when we were shelter in place, I have a 14-year-old daughter. You did a lot of like long dinners because you didn't have really anything to do, right? So it's the first time like I've ever actually had long conversations with my kids. And I remember one time we had this dinner and we were just going around the table like, what do you want to do? What do you see in your future? And she's like, well, I want to be an entrepreneur, just like you and daddy were. And I was like, oh my God, like this is the hardest thing. A business owner is the hardest thing because I've done it before and I closed down my business because it beat me.
Wow.
And so I was thinking,
you were brick and mortar.
I launched a home staging company about 3 years ago, and
Whoa.
I didn't choose it because I was passionate about it. I
Mm.
chose it because I wanted to try out being an entrepreneur, and I was like, oh, this is transferable skills from being in the fashion industry, being in the stores, like setting stores and setting up the tables. Like, how hard could it be? It's the same thing. You go to an empty house and you just add furniture. It was good. I'm gonna give myself grace. It was a pretty good business, but I closed it down because it's hard. You know, when you're a business owner, you are challenged in so many ways. And so going back to just, the little thing about my daughter is I chose to write also this blog because in the future, I know she's going to be an entrepreneur. And so when I write my blog, it's like writing love letters to her. I know that it may be a little bit outdated, but
that is so freaking cute. What?
When I write my blog, it really is for her and her future as a future business owner. So that's why I'm so deeply, it's a passion in me that wants to bring this forward. It's the reason why I put myself out there on videos and put myself out there on LinkedIn. The passion is bigger than the fear because I want a better and brighter future for my daughter. You know, at the time, when we were sheltering in place, there was so much uncertainty. This was my only way I could feel like I could contribute in some way to put some certainty in the future for her.
Absolutely.
So that's why.
And yeah, I mean, I really want to highlight how you just said that. You said, my blog posts are like love letters to my daughter. That is so cool. Like, I don't know if she knows that's how you feel about that, but I hope you show her that clip because that is special. It really is. And yeah, you're right. There is so much uncertainty. And with the realm of, the metaverse evolution and the internet evolving and technology evolving and everything, like there's a lot that's changing really, really, really fast. And change is inevitable. And so from my perspective, and I feel that you will resonate with this, is that we have opportunity to make that change very healing and to make that change very in a forward motion to something that is going to actually build sustainability and security for the self and for the people that we love and that we cherish. And change, everyone wants to change the world, but it's like change is going to happen anyway. So what is it we're going to do as we change? And it seems like that's what you've been really focused on with the blog and with Oh Hello Work Life, and just like setting this example for your daughter. Like, you have just one daughter?
I have one daughter. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought you had more than one child. So yeah, so for your children, for both of them, like having them be able to see you do that, like obviously has really, really impacted them, especially your daughter, if she is like a little munchkin saying she wants to be an entrepreneur like mommy,
Yeah,
like,
she wants to be a founder of a founder of a company. So it's not even, yes. And I love it. This generation is pretty amazing because they see the change that happens in front of their fingers and their hands. They know they can control that.
I know that. And they're like not taking any bull crap. Like, they're really just like, yeah, this is the new age.
It's
get
possible.
With it or get gone. Yeah. So somebody's asking for us to shed some more light on the topic, which is perfect segue, I would say, in talking about autonomy and whatnot. So, all right. I want to make sure that I'm not like guiding the conversation too much, since I know that you're the one writing the blog and you're the one asking questions. So in terms of interview, so anything that you're comfortable with getting started, any questions you might have, I'm happy to answer. And I know you asked if I could just give some like rudimentary basic knowledge as well, but I'm following your lead, if that's all right with you.
Thank you. No, yes. The reason why we're here today is because I wanted to interview Carina. I know that she has had experience with the NFT and the process and what that looks like. And it's the entire reason why my next blog for next week is dedicated to how to monetize in a new way. I think people are always thinking traditionally, like if I need a side hustle or a side job, they get it confused with a side gig. There's a difference. You don't have to trade in your time of doing, like, being in the moment. Like being an Uber driver, that's not the same as a side hustle. I want to make that clear, right? We're talking about something that is sustainable, something that you are already doing. You're just doubling down on it. So, and I want to share that opportunity to people in my blog. I want them to have this access and knowledge that you don't have to sacrifice doing something. You can actually put some time and energy with the technology and let the monetization happen on its own.
That is like, I would love to see that written out like an infographic or something, because I've never heard that distinction before. I've never heard anyone differentiate the two. And that's really, really important, because everyone wants to have like a side hustle or, you know, everyone, it's like hot right now. Like, and it kind of has been for honestly the past, like, I would say decade, to be honest. But trending at different moments and different things at different times. Like, oh, my side hustle is selling sneakers. Oh, my side hustle is, you know, becoming a life coach. Like, everyone's got a different, you know, I guess that's not technically a side hustle, but people sort of treat it like that. Could be. But the gig thing, now that's dope to me, because it really is accurate. And it's actually the perfect example. So I'll contextualize what we're talking about with what I've
taken my notes. Everyone take your notes.
Everyone get their book out.
We are going to get lessoned and learn about not only the benefits of NFTs, but what is it and what does the process look like? Because people tend to think like, oh, it's in the cloud. It's like, it is partly, but you can take tangible things and put it in the cloud and have the technology behind it. So
absolutely.
I know I can say it in a more eloquent way, but
yes, actually, we're in my parts we say, I'm about to school you. So that's probably what's about to happen. No, not actually. I will share the knowledge that I have, though. So I'll contextualize it with my project, and then I can answer more like application-based things. So check this. This is my book. It's called Thank You, Dammit. It's rooted in radical gratitude. And I began writing it January 1st of 2020. And so what ended up happening was it became my documentation of the whole pandemic, my journaling. It's Carina's Corona diary. So it really was very intimate storytelling about things going on with my family. And then, of course, everything that was going on in the world, all the civil unrest that we saw, all the upset, the injustices, you know, and I really began diving deep into like reflection and erasure of history and all of these really, really deep concepts, like our evolution as a species, and you know, mixed with journal entries of just like, this was April 1st and I'm just talking about like crying into my yoga mat and doing laundry and tending to my hair. Hi, Robert.
Hey, Robert. Or Rob.
Rob.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I took the book and I decided, exactly like you said, this is something I've already done. I'm working on getting the publishing and the print out and ready so I can really like actually, you know, sell the copies and things like that. And see Carina's Corona diary. It's a good sign if people are talking about it in the chat, you know. That means it's becoming like a catchy thing. I love it.
It's beautiful and it's so amazing. At the time, that wasn't probably your goal. At the time, it was your therapy, it was your art.
It was, and it was very much just like journaling and songs that I have written and things like that I just needed a space to turn to. And it's really interesting because during this, I was going through a career pivot, and I was, really what it was I just was going all in on my career instead of trying to compartmentalize things and get by and work a 9 to 5. My secure job was not secure, and I lost the job right as the pandemic started. And I had already been working nights doing my stuff, and I talked to Rob about what that looked like, sort of like I do one phone call for the company, and then I just paint for me, and then I do one phone call for the company. It wasn't good. It was great for me. It was what I needed, but not a very good employee. But that's okay, because that's not what I'm built to be. And I know it, Hello, Nidal. And anywho, I was doing that while I was doing this, and I was also building out my own website and just trying to get myself in a position where I could be full functioning. I was designing a business like an art piece. And with that, I was journaling, I was writing, I was doing all this stuff. And then the book just sort of was finished at the end of the year, And I was like, okay, wow, this is really objectively pretty remarkable, because I didn't anticipate documenting all that I did. Now, how does that relate to NFTs, right? So what I decided to do was, in addition to some of my virtual reality art, because I am a VR painter as well, and a performer, so I have a lot of blended stuff that's coming out that is being developed right now. And a lot of stuff is just in my heart and in my mind still, it hasn't become something yet. But what I decided to do with the work that I already do have is I put it out on OpenSea, which is a marketplace, and we could talk about that. But these, if you search my name up at the top, let's see if I can zoom this out any.
Would you say, in terms of OpenSea, is it more like an Etsy where everyone has their own mini shops?
That's a really interesting comparison, and I haven't heard that yet. And I would say it's a lot like that, actually, Val.
Okay.
It is a lot like that. Now, I zoomed out way too much. Let's try zooming in. It's going to take a second to load, but I would say it's a lot like that. It's very similar to Etsy in that way. I would say it's kind of like listing on eBay, but I like that. I like that you say Etsy though, because you can brand it as your own shop. I'll show you my profile or my collection. So,
which is really important for artists.
Oh my gosh.
Personal branding is super important. So if you have your own shop, it really could stand you from the crowd. Maybe there could be a little SEO behind it. I'm not sure about OpenSea.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll show you what it basically looks like, except for I typed my own name in wrong.
No pressure. We're just live.
Yeah, no worries, right? Yeah, it's funny though, even though it was a typo, it came up, and we were just talking about SEO, so that's funny. I'm surprised about that. Yeah, so what I ended up doing was I took the pages of the book, and I'm minting. I'm still not done. I'm trying to get all of the pages out there, but I am minting, aka publishing the pages as individual digital assets. So every single page of the book is, its own art piece, and it's out in the metaverse, and it is basically like a baseball card that only lives on the internet, and you can collect it just like you would a baseball card. And it's cool because go ahead.
When you say minted, are you giving it value? Is that what minted means?
Yeah, absolutely I am. So my my pieces of the book, I'm valuing them at 0.2222 Ethereum. And that is going to fluctuate with the value of Ethereum because of the way that the currency operates. So right now it's down, and it's valued, the piece is valued 483.28. I could wake up tomorrow and it could be double that. And it's done that. I've sold a few or a couple, and they were at like, I want to say 600-ish once they sold.
The Ethereum, 600.
Yeah. The Ethereum currency matched to the US dollar at about 600 in value at that moment in time. And now it's down some, so it went down to 483.28. And there's no data on that yet, but you can see this is where it transfers from the wallet immediately. Now, I don't know what you know about NFTs so far, so it might be good for me to give some general explanation before I kind of go into that. But first, are you following? Have I lost you yet?
Nope. Ethereum, it sounds like it has its own like currency, like kind of like the stock market in some way, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It is similar to the stock market. It's really similar to Forex. Like it's more similar to foreign exchange.
Okay.
I see the comparison to be more helpful when looking specifically at Forex, because what we're talking about is I have tokenized this artwork. And what I can even do, and this is really mind-blowing, but you can design your own token. Like I have a friend who creates really, really cool. I'll show you her Instagram since we're talking about her, and I've got it up. Her name is Bergie Emily, and she creates, you might have even seen these on Instagram because she's got some serious clout on Instagram. She creates like vulva art, like beautiful sculptures of women's vaginas. You know, there's no other way to put it. And they're just stunning. Like it's really, really beautiful.
That's when I heard that, I was like, oh, is that what? Okay, yeah.
Is that what I'm thinking? And it is. I mean, look at those. They're stunning. They're very, very stunning.
Oh, they look like gemstones, but like I don't know.
They do look like that. And so she has her own token, and she came out with what she calls the coochie coin. And so that is the same as a dollar. It's worth money, you know? And it's like, it sounds silly, sounds like maybe even bizarre or weird, but yeah, I mean, she could attach her artwork. She could sell this on the, blockchain as accessible only in her coin, in her token. Yep. So that means she's not only selling her artwork, but she's selling it with and for her own money.
Yes. I've heard of that.
Like her own designed money.
Right. So it just compounds personal branding on top of personal branding. Really, like you can create your own token, and your super fans can buy those tokens and they can spend it, right? However they want to.
Yeah, they can. And you don't have to do it that way either. Like you can make it right, but it's a really good thing to make sure that everyone understands. So yes, you got it. Like you really understand it. And it is a really, really good way to go about it. And I'm sure I will branch into that probably sooner than later, but at this point in time, I'm just trying to get the projects that I'm working on in a like 3/4 of the way to complete. Like it's always a cycle. Like everything is always moving. And Nidal says that he thinks NFTs will guarantee that no more fine artists will suffer from financial situations.
100%. I agree with that. That we won't ever have to say starving artists anymore.
No, I definitely am working to abolish that terminology as well. But I am also very cognizant to not look at things through rose-colored glasses. Like, the thing about it is that I want that. I really, really want that to be true. And I'll do everything I can do. And I have been. Like, I'm in the very beginning ideation meditation phases of building a curriculum for artists and for creators, not even just artists, to be able to teach this, which is my method of creation: ideation, meditation, creation method. And I focus on the 8 elements of art, and just sort of like building out ways to help guide people to taking an idea like your blog and extrapolating that idea, meditating on it, and then taking action and creation to see it all the way through. And that's something I'm building out. So that's my goal in helping up, and the mission of that is to abolish the starving artist stereotype, right? But I've got to say that I don't think that, here's the thing about it. NFTs are a tool. Like, we wouldn't say that the ink pen or this bamboo stick is going to stop the starving artists from existing. That's not going to do it. Like, the NFT, the invention of non-fungible tokens is not going to eradicate financial insecurity. It's just not. Like, it just isn't. But it does open a lot of doors. And so, and I really am, as realistic as I am, I'm very, very optimistic. Like, I have nothing but hope for this world. Like, I really have, I recognize every shortcoming and downfall that there is. Like, I'm not unaware. I really am aware. And still, I've got this hope and this resilience. And I think we all have that inside of us,
Yeah. I think you said it well. NFT is a tool. Technology is the tool. It's what you decide to do with it, and you have accessibility to do it, not, like, your art is your art. You can choose whether or not you want to put it out there. But if you do, you have more access. The world is shrinking. You don't have to just go to a gallery and hope that it will sell. You can't you don't have to rely on hope for someone to say, hey, do you want to like hang your stuff up? No, you could put it out there because you have a couple of things have to go for you, right? You have to put yourself out there. You have to have social media presence and a following. It doesn't have to be big. You just have to have some. And then now you have this, and now you have this other part that you can monetize on it, right? So I think people don't realize that the accessibility is there. It's whether they choose how much energy they want to put into it, because if you want to live a sustainable and to continue this life, then to continue your art, to continue this life that you designed, you're going to have to learn more about this, and because it's out there.
Yes, and that's what it really, really is about. And so in that way, absolutely, it's going to open so many, and it already has opened so many opportunities for artists and non-artists alike to be able to create a passive, somewhat supplemental income for oneself. And I wouldn't rely on it though. I'm very, very cautionary about it, because there's so much noise that is happening around NFTs, especially now that it's becoming very mainstream. And that's a really dangerous place to be if you're feeling desperate, because when people are desperate, they put all their eggs in one basket, and that makes you really, 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 really vulnerable. And it's like the opposite of what you want to do. So even people who are in, like, I'm connected with someone who is the head of the Nordic Blockchain Association out in Denmark. And he was asking me about, he's this brilliant mind and all of this teams of people and stuff. And he's asking me about help, financially with it and how to be able to rely on it financially fast. And my advice for him was just like, you can't do that right now. Like I really wouldn't bet on that right now. Not because it's impossible and not because I haven't even done it myself, about making money in Ethereum on the blockchain. My point is just that you really don't want to put I don't want any of us to put ourselves in a financial situation where we are relying on something so volatile, because like I said, it's $400 today, it could be $800 tomorrow, it could be zero.
Yep.
You know, like, yeah. And that would just happen. And so as long as we are looking at this as something that we're experimenting with, and learning from, there is limitless options. The moment that we try to chokehold it and say, this has to work, it has to work, it's not like the universe doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. So it's it's a deeper conversation. It's very ethereal and very spiritual. It really is, like, beyond anything practical, you know? So
I think it's just a good golden rule. Like, just because something is trending, you can't bet all bets on it, right? Like anything, you have to diversify. You can't rely on something being secure, right? Like, I thought I had a secure job, but that was a false security. I should have had something on the side. So this is just another pathway towards your art, towards something that you can monetize. And I love the fact that you have your actual art pieces, and it sounds like you can take your video pieces and combine them together. I think that's the beauty of NFT, is that it doesn't have to be just video. It could actually be something like your journal entries.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really cool about it is that to me does feel, even though there is active work in application of putting the pieces out there, like I have to individually publish them and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it is rather passive, because the moment someone scoops it up, and I'm going to show you the page again because I actually wanted to show you something that you just brought up. But the moment someone decides they want it, it transfers to their wallet immediately. And that money transfers to my wallet immediately. And that way it's a lot like stocks, because it's very instant. And, you know, it's kind of funny because that has never, ever, ever, ever been the case for artists. Even today, like if I sell this painting behind me, you know, even if it's tens of thousands of dollars, which is not unheard of, then it's still got to go through all of these processes. Even just thinking about it, like it's a physical world. Like I have to mail it to the person, and then they have to receive, like there's time that passes, but that's not the case.
Yeah, you can also think of it as like music artists, right? Like they actually they can put their music out as artists, but they don't necessarily have to have this big entourage behind them to go through it. If they want to sell their music, they can now with NFTs. So I think that's also beautiful, that you don't, for that industry, that they're just cutting the middleman out that was draining the actual artist. This type of what is set up is just direct from artist to the fan. That's what I love about this.
Yes, and I'm really, really excited because I'll be coming out with some collaborative pieces in the music industry, like you're talking about, soon. And I can't talk about the projects, but I will just say that, like, what you're saying is very true, that there's now this ability to go directly to the audience without in the music industry. Oh my God. Like the more that I immerse myself, the more appalled I am. And I already studied like how media has gained control over our perception in depth. like I've already studied that, but now just seeing like meeting the people I'm meeting in the industry and learning from some of the teachings that they are instilling within us as a workshop collective, as artist collective, they're very, very clear that there's a lot of toxicity and you see it. And so this opens up opportunities to where it's like we don't have to have people having them be controlled images. Like they're not there. We aren't required to, you see my name here, created by Carina Krehl. I don't have to stand on a stage and wear anything I'm uncomfortable with or do anything I'm uncomfortable doing or have conversations that make me uncomfortable about things that are I don't have to do any of that anymore. Like none of us have to do that anymore, because there's always a way to decentralize it and become, centralized in your own identity versus being under a specific label. Now, do I think again that this is going to make all of that go away? No. What's going to make all of these big problems go away is big solutions. And this is a medium to create those solutions. So we're on our way, but it would be really, really irresponsible for me to come out here and on here saying like, oh yeah, it totally makes everything disappear. I mean, look at me. No, that's not the way it works. Like it'd be really wrong to do that. So I'm hoping to nail that in, but I do want to show you this, and it looks like Robert's waiting. Rob says, waiting for the Carina experience on CD. I guess that's MP3 now. Yeah, it's MP3 on the metaverse. So like, here we go. Can you hear that? No? All right, that's fine. But either way, so cool. It's got music playing too, and it's my vocals. So that's a little taste of what can be done. This is just a GIF, or technically it's an MP4 because it does have audio overlay. But the point is, what you're saying is very accurate. Like the musician of today, the artist of today, this is similar to a Van Gogh quote. Van Gogh said, "The artist of the future is going to have a perception of color unlike any other." So I would say that's true, and that I have I paint in VR. I have perception of color like any other art, like better than any other artist of his time would have been able to have. And so now I would say something along the lines of like the artist of the future will have an understanding of the universe better than any other, and universes, because that's what we're doing here. Like we're creating universes of our own design. Right. It's really, really remarkable stuff.
So if you could just break it down into, my blog is very listicle. It goes through like steps. If you could break down to the rudimentary part, just like you got to sign up for OpenSea, like whatever those steps are, that'd be like so helpful.
Absolutely. So first step, this is going to be a little bit abstracted because it's necessary, but I will give it in steps. So first step is educate yourself by listening and asking questions. The second step, and I can send you links to past podcasts where I've done that are very technical. Like I've had episodes where I'm like literally step by step, but I'll give you the Spark Notes version. So educate yourself, ask questions, and listen. Research and take action on setting up a wallet. And you're going to want to look into all the different options of wallets. But I personally have a MetaMask wallet. I'll say that much. And then you're going to want to then or simultaneously research the marketplaces where you can both mint and collect NFTs. And some of those, and you can, and this is for you, Val, but like, you can interchange the words mint and publish. and like sell, as well as you know, collect can be changed out with buy, basically, or trade. So just so you know, in writing, but you'll want to, you know, look into different options. Now, bullet points underneath that, there are public marketplaces and there are privatized marketplaces. There are places that have applications to be able to sell your artwork, and then there are places that are free, or I should say that are open to the public, because in terms of cost, you will I don't know how you want to organize this, because I am a little bit bouncing around, but like you will pay a gas fee, which is basically tax. And depending on what platform you select, what marketplace you select to sell your work, you're going to pay a different amount, and it's going to be different. From there, I would say,
makes sense to me, not to interrupt, but it's kind of like having your own website, right? It's like either you're going to have your own website and you have to bring in everything and like you have to do everything like a WordPress, versus you can maybe that's not a great example. WordPress versus Medium, like there's a difference between marketplace and private. I think I understand, like private is your own, and then marketplace is it's out there, you're with other people.
Yeah. What I would say is it's sort of like, it's basically like deciding, do you want to sell your, do you want to put something on Shopify or Amazon or Etsy or eBay? That's what it's like, because they're all marketplaces. Because right now it's like, I am building out my website right now, or I have a team of people building out my website, and there's no way for them to really, I mean, unless we really were building it out. I don't have a marketplace myself to sell. I could do it, but it's going to take a lot of time to get to that point. So what I can do is have them put a plugin in my site that directs you to the marketplace, and you can see it from there. But that's sort of like a separate thing, you know. I would just say it's really like about what platform are you selecting, and you can work with all of them in some capacity, but you just can't duplicate the product in other platforms. Like you can't. Like I can't put this yeah, you get it. Okay.
Yeah. It's like me. I can't put my blog it only be hosted in one place.
And domains are actually a really good comparison. I have to sneeze. It's stuck.
Oh, I was gonna say, was that a sneeze?
No, it's snuck. It's snuck. It's stuck. It's not gonna happen. Anyway. Yeah, domain names are a really good comparison, actually. So from there, we've got it covered that you're going to need a wallet. You're going to need to know what marketplace you're going to go to. You're going to have to pay a gas fee. From there, it really is about marketing yourself and, you know, branding yourself and building communities of people. And that's like a whole separate conversation, but it is something that I find to be extremely helpful. You know, the collector that I spoke to told me that he discovered my page from a dancing video I put out, and the art piece he bought was pages from my book. So, you know, just by showing up, being myself, he vibed with my energy and saw the work, and then was like, oh, this is a no-brainer to collect.
Right.
But if I didn't just like, I remember the video that I put out. It was the one that I was like, I put it on LinkedIn. It was like, when you're a classically trained artist, but you're from Tallahassee, like, and so the song was like, you know, this ballet, and I was dancing ballet, and then it like broke down into the beat, and then I was like, getting it. And it's like, he saw that and was like, oh, this is so funny. Clicked on my profile, saw the page that was pinned to the top, and he collects. So, you know, he bought pieces. But
I think your point is like, put yourself out there. You never know who's watching and what that could lead to.
Right. You never know who's watching. You never know what could lead to. And just be yourself. Like, genuinely be yourself. Like Rob said, those who are for you will find you. Every single step of the way, they will. But only if we actually show up as ourselves. Because how are they going to find you? How am I going to help you win if you're not going to tell me, like, what it is you need to help win, or to have help winning with? Like, we need to be able to be clear, to just say who we are, and be unapologetic, to be brazen and bold and shameless in that. And if we do that and show up, we attract the people who actually are for us.
And value you and see your value.
Yeah. So, I mean, step by step, I think that's a really, really good place to start. For your knowledge and for their knowledge, I'll list off a few marketplaces for you to look into, to list off.
Yeah, and send me those podcasts too.
I will do that.
That'd be so helpful.
Absolutely.
And yeah, this has been really helpful, and I'm going to keep it really, you know, top level for the article. And see, you have to like put it out there and test. And if they want to have more, and then I'll do it, you know, like a deeper dive. That's really what life is all about, right? You just put it out there, test it out, see what happens, see what you get. And
absolutely.
If you don't get anything, move on to the next subject. If you get some engagement, dig a little bit more, see what else you can, because you could be that person that the way that you explain it or the way that you put it out there that people really vibe with.
Absolutely. And one thing I'll say about that too is that even if you get nothing, you get something, because you built up what you needed to go to the next thing. And like, it might not look like a tangible result, but it's always process. And sometimes the things that I at the moment felt like it was for no use, I'm able now to look back on and be like, dang, that really, really built up to something else.
Yes.
And just maybe it needed a few years to evolve, and it became something
maybe it was just that one little tiny stepping stone.
Exactly.
That you needed.
And one thing I'll say to you too is that I feel there's probably room here for a couple of different like articles themed in different ways, based on like, you could do a very technical one. And then you could do one that's like, you know, and if you wanted to make them both framed around NFTs, that would be good. But and this is just an idea, but you could make it be like something along the lines of what bear with me, what spiritual lessons will help with success in NFTs, or something like that, you know, because the things that we talked about are so foundational that like step by step and like technically like there's a lot of things to know, but there's a lot that needs to be developed as on a personal individual level in order to succeed at this or anything.
I always say, when you are a business owner, I just relate it back to business a lot, is that when you're a business owner, you always have like a book technically about business, and then you always have a self-development book. Those two come in hand. I feel like this is the same thing with anything like this. When you put your art out there, when you put your work out there, there are technical steps, and then it's going to challenge you in ways as a human being that's going to help push you forward.
Absolutely.
Towards your next level or your next success. So
what a great like that's quotable. Like, let's clip that. Like, yeah, that was good.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and your knowledge that you're sharing freely, and I value you so much. I will definitely be in contact with you. Everyone look out for the article, because there will be some really good juicy quotes in there from Carina.
Oh, love a good juicy Carina quote. Thank you. And aloha, Karen. Thanks for joining in. I hope you watch the playback. by Val. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And please leave any questions in the comments and stay tuned because the article will be coming out soon. And check out Oh Hello Work Life on all social media platforms.
Thanks, everyone.